What's up everybody, this is ENDO. I'm a DJ from LA, also a DJ product specialist for Native Instruments, co-founder of MIDI Monsters, and an instructor here at Dubspot LA. And today I'm going to be showing you guys the all-new Traktor Kontrol S8. Now the Traktor Kontrol S8 is a groundbreaking new DJ controller. It's an all-in-one software and hardware DJ controller that literally lets you control everything inside of Traktor, and it gives you a whole new powerful, intuitive workflow as a DJ, since everything in Traktor can be controlled on the controller, allowing you to focus more on interacting with your audience and doing more cool things with your music and not looking at the computer screen. So one of the coolest things about this controller is it doubles as a standalone DJ mixer. So even if you don't have Traktor connected or a computer connected, you can still use this controller as a standalone mixer, and DJs can plug in CDJs, turntables, or any other auxiliary DJ equipment into the controller. So clubs can actually have the mixer installed and use this live, and then if you're a Traktor DJ, you just plug right into the mixer and you have full control over everything in Traktor. You're ready to rock. So the controller has a 24-bit, 48 kilohertz, club-ready professional sound card built in. So it has a balanced XLR master output and an unbalanced RCA output. It also has a booth output, which is 1/4 inch, so you can plug in your booth monitors to the controller. Now if I look at the mixer, you can see I have 4 channels. Each channel has a volume fader, a Q assignment, a filter, and 3-band EQs, lows, mids, and highs. I also have a Q mix knob, so you can decide if you're listening to the Q or the master. I have a Q volume, and you can see I also have a booth output and a main output right on the mixer. Now, if I want to assign a channel to the Q, I can just push the Q button. On the front of the mixer, you have 2 headphone inputs. You have an 1/8 inch and a 1/4 inch input, so you can actually plug 2 DJs' headphones in for awesome back-to-back sets. You have a Q volume, a Q mix knob. You also have booth and master volume right on the controller, and you can assign each channel individually to the crossfader. So let's say you want to play back-to-back with another DJ. One person's using Traktor and the other person's just using CDJs or vinyl. You actually have a button right on the mixer that you can push to toggle between Traktor mode and just using a standalone DJ mixer. Now, all the mixing that I'm doing with the S8 is actually done inside the Traktor software. So if you record your sets, all of the recordings are going to come out with perfect audio quality, since all the recording is being done in the box. Now as far as the controller goes, all the knobs have Traktor's built-in high-definition MIDI protocol, so all your mixing can be done with precision. Now one of the coolest things about the controller is browsing through my tracks. So if I want to look for tracks, all I have to do is touch the browse knob. Now since this knob is touch sensitive, as soon as I just touch it with my fingers, the screen goes right into browse knob and I can browse through the songs in that playlist. If I want to go back to different playlists, I just hit the back button and I can go through my playlist tree, select the playlist I want, either iTunes, Explorer, Track Collection, and just click on the knob again to open the folder. And as soon as I find the song I want to load, I just push the browse button and it'll load it. Now right now I just loaded into deck B. On the left side I can load into deck A just by pushing the knob. Now I can also load into deck C or D. If I want to load into deck C, I just push the deck button on the controller and it goes into deck C. If I want to load into deck D, I just hit the deck button here and I'm into deck D. Now another new major difference with the S8 is they've actually taken out the jog wheels and put in this new touch strip technology. Now I know what you guys are thinking, oh my god, no jog wheels. But you actually find that touch strip is really nice once you get used to it and has a good feel. Now if you want more tactile control over the decks, you can actually hook up the CDJs in HID mode, you can hook up turntables or CDJs to control the decks as well. So here's how to use the touch strips. So while the deck is stopped, I can just take my finger, put it on the touch strip, and I can move it back and forth to scrub my track just like I was kind of scratching a record. Now also if I hold the shift button and I move my finger around the touch strip, it's actually going to seek through the track really quickly. Okay, so I can skip to a part in the middle of the song really fast. Now, notice how when I move my finger across this touch strip, you can see this LED light above my finger. That'll actually tell me what point of the song I'm at. So you can see I'm at the end or I'm at the beginning. Another way you can get to the beginning is by pushing Shift and the Q buttons, and that'll jump right to the beginning of the track. All right, so now let's make some noise. So first thing I'm going to do is find the first beat that I want to start on. I can do that by using the touch strip. So I just place my finger on the touch strip, find the first beat. Now, once I found that beat, I can push the Q button. Now, when I push the Q button, it sends a temporary cue point in the track. So every time I push Q, it's going to jump back to that beat. Once I'm ready to play, I can just hit the play button and we're off. Now, one of the really cool things about the controller is I now have a global tempo knob right in the middle. So as I turn the tempo knob, it's actually changing the speed of every deck that is synced to the master tempo. Now, a note about that, by default, Traktor is going to be in what's called auto mode, which means whatever deck's been playing the longest is going to be the master deck, and every other deck is going to sync to that. Now, if I want to have individual control over the tempo, I can actually just use this top square knob here, and I can turn my browse knob while the master BPM square is showing. Now, if I want to change the key of the track, I have a really quick key adjust. I just push this bottom square button on the left, and I can change the actual key of the song that's playing. And I'm going to have to actually push the browse knob to turn key lock on or off. So now if I want to mix in a second track, the first thing I'm going to do is turn sync on. Now when I push sync, what that's doing is it's matching the BPMs of the other deck to whatever the master tempo is. Now just take note that sync doesn't always work perfectly. You're going to have to actually edit your beat grids in the track so that it works perfectly. So when I push sync, it's matching the BPMs of deck A to deck B, and when I push play, it's going to play the track at the same speed. Okay, so now both tracks are playing together. Now if I want to adjust them, before I would have to, do my pitch bending on the CDJ or turntable, but now that both decks are playing, I can use the touch strip technology to actually pitch bend the track. So if I move the touch fader to the left, it's pitch bending the track to the left, and if I move it to the right, it's pitch bending it to the right. And notice how when I'm pitch bending, you can hear that the tracks are a little bit off. You can actually see on the controller the phase meter inside of Traktor. Now the phase meter will actually tell me how off or on my mix is. So if the phase meter is to the right, you'll see blue LEDs going to the right. And as I move my finger to the left, it's putting the phase meter closer to the middle. So if the phase meter is in the middle, that means we have a perfect mix as long as our beat grids are set perfectly. So remember, for each deck you have a crossfader assignment. So I can assign the decks to either the right side of the crossfader, the left side of the crossfader, or I can put it in what's called through mode, which means the crossfader is not affecting the decks. So I play with 4 decks all the time, so what I do is I turn each deck into through mode so the crossfader doesn't do anything and I just mix with my volume faders. All right, now I'm going to show you guys some powerful tools that you can use on the S8 to remix your tracks live. First thing I'm going to show you is hot cues. Now if I click on the hot cue button on the controller, you can see that this pad section right here goes into hot cue mode, and I have different colored pads. I have 8 pads in this section. So this yellow cue point right here is actually a load marker. That's a special cue point that when I load the song, it's going to jump right to that point of the song, so I don't have to waste any time trying to find the first beat. To set a load marker, all I gotta do is go to the cue section of Traktor, set a cue point, and then I have to change my cue point type to load. This is something I do for each track. It really speeds up your workflow. Now you can also see that I have these blue hot cues. Those are just regular cue points. So to set a cue point in the track or a hot cue, I just find the point of the song that I want to go to. I push a blank unlit cue point slot, and that will set a cue point in the track. And if I re-trigger that, that'll jump to the cue point. Now you'll also see that I have this white cue point right here. That's what's called a grid marker. Now, Traktor by default will set a grid marker for each track. So what that means is that that cue point is what Traktor thinks is the first cue point or the first beat in the track, and also the first beat of the measure, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want to go to the beginning of the track, as long as you have this option checked, you can just push a white cue point and it goes right to the beginning. All right? So now let's start triggering some cue points. All right, turn sync on. Okay, so if I want to jump to a different point of the track, I can just click a cue point. So now, notice how that was off beat. That's because I didn't have quantize mode on. To turn quantize on, I just push the cue button. So now when the cue button is turned on, that means that Traktor is going to wait for the next downbeat in the song before jumping to the cue point. So I can jump all over my tracks seamlessly without worrying about train wrecking. So check it out.
This is my baseline, move your waistline. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. This is my baseline,
So you can see how that just gives you new ways to remix your tracks live. Rather than being a slave to your track and just waiting for it to come in, now you can do more powerful things and play the tracks the way that you want to play them. So if I want to delete a cue point, I just have to hold the shift button and I can push any of the cue points and it'll delete that from the track. One other really cool live remixing tool that we have on the S8 is its looping controls. I can use loops to extend a part of the song, and I can actually save loops in my tracks. So as soon as the track gets to that point, it'll continue looping until I disengage it. So I can use that for long extended blends, or if I gotta go take a bathroom break, I'll come back and you know that the track's not gonna stop. So here's how to set a loop. So I can set a loop by using the loop knob on the controller. Now notice how as soon as I touch the loop knob, you can see the loop length in the deck. So right now I have a 4-beat loop. Now if I want to set the loop, I just push the loop knob and it's going to loop it. Now notice right now when I set the loop isn't perfectly snapped to the beats, it's like a little bit off. I have this really powerful feature called snap mode. So when I push the S button on my controller, that engages snap mode. What that means is it's going to snap the loop perfectly to the beat that's set by my beat grid. So now notice with snap mode on, the loop is perfectly snapped to the beat. And also you notice that the loop section is highlighted green so you can see the part that's going to repeat, and it's going to keep repeating until I push the loop knob again to turn it off. So if I have a loop set, I can also move the loop around by holding the shift button and turning the loop knob. And notice how every time I turn the loop knob to the left or right, it moves the loop to the left or the right in the track based on how many beats are selected in the loop section. So right now, every time I turn the knob, it's moving the loop 8 beats. Now let's say I want to save this loop. While the track is looping, I can actually click a blank hot cue button, and that's actually saved the loop as a hot cue. So every time I trigger this hot cue pad, it jumps to the loop and activates the loop. Now, another great section for setting loops is the loop section. If I click the loop button on the controller, I have all these controls for triggering loops. Now, I can actually set the loop lengths in the Traktor preferences for each pad. So if I go to the Traktor preferences, Traktor Kontrol S8, you can see in this section I can set the amount for each loop. So right now I have a 16-beat loop, an 8-beat loop, a half-beat loop, and a 16th note loop. So check it out. I push the pad, it sets a 16-beat loop. 8-beat loop, half note, 16th note. And as soon as I push the pad, it'll let the track play through. Now, another really awesome feature with looping is called Flux mode. Flux mode is a transport-based technique that will basically let the track play through the timeline, and I can set loops or cue points, and as soon as I let go of the loop, it'll jump back to where it would be in the timeline. It's kind of like slip mode on the CDJ. So to turn Flux mode on, I just push the Flux button. So now you're going to notice how the song will keep playing forward, but when I set a loop, it's just going to set a loop as long as I hold the button, and when I let it go, it's going to jump to where it would be. Check it out. And it keeps playing. Now, Flux mode also works for cue points. So if I were to trigger a cue point in Flux mode, it's going to jump to the cue point as long as I hold the pad down, and when I let go of the pad, it's just going to jump back to where it would be in the song. Now my favorite feature in Traktor is the beat jump feature. I'm using this all the time when I play out. Beat jump will let me skip forwards and backwards by a set number of beats. So every time I push the button, it's jumping forwards or backwards. I like to use 32 beats. So every time I hit my beat jump, it's jumping 32 beats or 8 bars forwards or backwards. Now most dance music is written 8-bar phrases, so as long as I drop on the 1, I can beat jump by 32 beats forwards or backwards, and I know that my mix is going to be perfectly in phrase. So to set a beat jump, first I'm going to set the beat jump length by turning the loop knob. I'm going to set it to 32 beats. Now if I hold shift and turn the loop knob, you'll see that every time I click to the left or the right, it's jumping 32 beats forwards or backwards. Okay, so I can use this to just get right to the point, jump right to the point of the song, and get right in the mix. Another way to set beat jumps is by going into loop mode. Now when you're in loop mode, the bottom row of pads is going to be my beat jump lengths. So you can set 4 different beat jump lengths in this section. To do that, I just go to the Traktor preferences, Control S8, and I can set my beat jump lengths. I like to use -1 and +1 for the left 2 pads, and -32 and +32 for the right pads. Okay. So now I can jump 1 beat backwards or forwards if I triggered the song on the wrong beat, or I can just use my beat jump buttons to jump right to the point of the track that I want to get to. Now you can see all the creative power that you have with the S8. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. For more videos, check out Dubspot.com. Also be sure to check out our online digital DJing with Traktor class and our classes in Dubspot LA and New York City. For more info about me, check out djendo.com. Peace.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself. Become a part of our community and make music.